You there, the disillusioned young man, the one who feels invisible, cheated, rejected by a world that promised more. You took the blue pill, then betrayed, you swallowed the red. And now, that red pill has fermented into something fouler, a poison you sip like sacrament. I've heard this story before. A man stripped of power who tells himself that clarity is the same as wisdom, and that cynicism is the same as strength. And yet I must ask, what have you done with your pain? Have you turned it into power, or have you let it degenerate into blame? You've read the worst of my lines about women. So have I. And yes, I wrote them. I was angry, proud, afraid, human, all too human. But don't make a god of my worst day. Make a lesson of it. You think the world has wronged you, and perhaps it has. But your reaction, your withdrawal, your scorn, your refusal to become anything in response to your suffering, that is not rebellion. It is resignation. If suffering is inescapable, and I assure you it is, then let it burn away the dross, and leave only what dares to remain. Let it shape you, not shrink you. So I ask you, not as a scold, but as someone who also bled meaning into the void, is your suffering a crucible or a cage? You are not broken because you are weak. You are broken because a $1 trillion system profits when you are broken. Your culture feeds you sugar for your soul. Dopamine hits disguised as meaning. I have seen this before, not in my own time, but in a dystopian omen from your time. A tyranny not of boots, but of cushions, where pleasure once a gift is now a leash. Brave New World warned you. People will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think. And what has this produced? A generation numbed by abundance, softened by pornography, junk food, and endless scrolling, seduced into sedation. You've been manipulated, played to chase tiny doses of happiness at the expense of greatness. But you have something the systems didn't account for, the capacities to rebel by building. Most speak of power as if it were something granted by society, by others, by fortune. But I never defined power so timidly. The will to power is not a job title, not a physique, not romantic validation. It is not dominance over others. It is dominion over yourself. The power to become something despite your circumstances, not because they were favorable. You say you are powerless because no one sees you. But have you become someone worth seeing? Harsh? Yes, but the world is harsh, and it does not reward the bitter. It forgets them. Power, true power, is not given. It is built, it is forged in rejection, in humiliation, in solitude. Not through blame, but through becoming. You rage at women, at society, at modernity. But all of these are convenient targets. Easier to rage outward than inward. Easier to say, they've robbed me of relevance, than to admit, I have not yet created any of my own. When I wrote of the Übermensch, I did not envision a man praised by the masses. I imagined a man who transcended them, who crafted his own values from the ashes of the old, who became, through the furnace of suffering, something new, something greater. And yes, I know I was myself broken in the end. My body withered under disease, a consequence not just of fate, but of my foolishness. I sought answers in flesh, and what did I find? Fever, and finally, silence. Don't romanticize my ruin, it cost me everything. So you need to ask yourself, what have I created from my pain? Just despair and retreat. To suffer is to be human, but to suffer meaninglessly, That is a choice. A cruel one, yes, but still a choice. You are not exempt from this burden. No one is. But you are not without agency. You may not control who desires you, who hires you, who praises you, but you control how you respond to that absence, whether you allow it to corrode you or catalyze you. The red pill gave you vision, but no direction. This black pill gave you fatalism, but no freedom. You are stuck between clarity and cowardice. So, I offer no pill, only the fire of becoming, of shaping your identity, not through rejection by others, but through relentless self-creation. The will to power was never about crushing others. It was about refusing to be crushed by yourself. You may say, but Nietzsche, I am powerless. I have no looks, no wealth, no status. The world has cast me aside. To which I say, good. Now we begin. You might have believed strength comes from comfort, from being admired, desired, coddled. That is not strength. It is flattery, mistaken for meaning. I wrote of the will to power not as domination over others, but as mastery of the self in the face of chaos. Have you not understood that the Übermensch is forged in the absence of approval? I know your kind. All too well, the ones who wear the mask of cynicism. To hide the wound of longing, you mock the world before it mocks you. You say, nothing matters. A coward's prayer dressed up as defiance. No, if nothing matters, then everything is permitted. And the only question becomes, what will you create from the ruins? There are those who think I preached cruelty, that I praised hardness, domination. They misunderstand. I praised intensity, fire, becoming, not cruelty masquerading as justice. The incel who vents his rage online, who dreams of punishing women or society. He is not powerful. He is a shadow of the man he could have become, turned inward and rotting. I see you not as evil, but as lost. And in being lost, you are tempted by those who offer you enemies instead of answers. Tate and his ilk, swagger as substance, grievance as gospel. False prophets who say, it is not your fault. And perhaps it isn't, but it is still your responsibility. You live in a world of algorithmic rage, where outrage is monetized and victimhood stylized. And yet, with all this noise, you are silent about the one thing that matters, who you are becoming. I do not offer you pity. I offer you a mirror and a match. I too have been unwanted, not metaphorically, literally, and often. I offered love to Lou Salome, a woman of brilliance and independence. She did not return it. She walked away, and I walked into fire. But in that fire, I reforged myself, not as someone desired, but as someone undeniable. So, what now? You've stared into the abyss, it stared back into you. You've traced every contour of your pain and carved it into identity. But pain, my friend, is not a destination. It is a doorway. You ask, what am I supposed to do? Here is my answer. Build. Not muscles, not status, not hollow applause, but something that makes the gods glance sideways. Write the book that everybody needs to read. Learn a skill so sharp, the world has no choice but to bleed when it brushes past you. Make art so true, you would live with it forever, even if life looped endlessly, or don't. Keep scrolling, keep raging, keep waiting for the apology that will never come from a world that never owed you fairness. But if even a sliver of you believes that you were born for more than passive resentment, then choose to become. This is the fire I spoke of. Not the fire that warms, the fire that forges. You want a meaningful life? Create it. Your enemy is not just despair, it is distraction. And here's the irony. The Zen joke the universe plays. When you stop chasing sex, when you stop performing for validation, you become what you were hoping they'd notice. Build something so compelling, so clear-eyed, that you and everyone else have no choice but to kneel before it. Create your own system, one that hijacks your dopamine not for decadence, but for destiny. Choose a future for yourself. That makes sex seem trivial. A knee tremble, a little splat. You're going to build cathedrals, Parthenons, culture-shifting, century-striding monuments to your intellect, masterworks of your imagination. And no, Chads and Stacys don't have to do this, but that's a gift, an invitation that it should be your privilege to accept. Your pain, it scales with your potential. Even kings wore solitude like armor before the crown. And if the voice inside you says, why bother? Why should I? It's not fair. Normies don't have to do this. You're right. Life is not fair. Nature plays favorites. It's because you are not them. You are you, a creature born with pain in your belly and the torch of life in your fist. Play up, and play the game. From the poem, true in cricket fields of jolly old England, to the bloody trenches alike. Nothing to do with fairness. It was the call to ordinary men. Refusing to play was never victory, only surrender. You will suffer either way. The only question is your suffering a crucible or a cage?
The